Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician. And if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Today, we're going to review Bedtime Stories by Sasha Stephens. And you'll see why I think she is a sleep genius by showing you how one of her advices is implemented by a viewer. It is so nice to have you back here. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to you, of course. Listen, we're going to do a book review and we're going to read this email and actually see how an advice that is talked about in this book is implemented by a viewer. I think you'll find this really, really helpful. So the book we're going to talk about today is, here we go. It was upside down for a minute. Sasha Stephens' book, Bedtime Stories. Now, if you are looking for a resource, a book specifically on insomnia, I highly recommend The Effortless Sleep Method by Sasha Stephens. It's a really, really good book. Now, she has written two other books. The other one is called the Effortless Sleep Method Companion, which we'll also review at some point. I'm kind of halfway through it, but I have read this one again, Bedtime Stories by Sasha Stephens. Now, I understand that Sasha Stephens, she had like an email list going where she would email people kind of daily helpful advice, a tip and things like that. And this book is really kind of the best of those emails. So it's like snippets, like short pieces of information. And again, I think she has so much insight. These snippets are really like deeply, helpful. It's not like, I think it's not a good book to start with, It's not like a method or a program or like a strategy or anything like that. So by itself, it may not be that helpful. But if you have already read, let's say, The Effortless Sleep Method, or you've read, let's say Goodnight, Insomnia by Greg Jacobs or another book, or you're somewhat familiar with the basic CBTi techniques, then I think this is a great book. Now, I really want to read this to you. So Bobby from episode 127, he, very shortly here, he had trouble sleeping for, I believe, more than a year. I think it was maybe somewhere between 1 and 3 years. Had been told that he was depressed, but didn't feel depressed. So we just kind of talked about CBTi, and he started, and he was doing better. And then I got this email from Bobby. When was that? 9 days ago, in fact. So Bobby says the following. I'm going to read this to you. Hi, Daniel. 3 nights ago, I woke at 2:30 a.m. and didn't get back to sleep. But I said to myself not to worry because it's only one night and I've otherwise been sleeping well. Then it happened again and again. It's now been 3 nights in a row that I've fallen back into my old pattern despite sleep restriction, and I'm feeling panicked that I've lost my groove. I have a presentation at work today and I can't afford to be tired, so I let myself sleep at dawn for a couple hours. Please help me troubleshoot this. All right. I think this is a very, very important email because this happens to so many people. You start what Bobby talks about, sleep restriction, meaning spending less time in bed. You build up a long sleep drive. You're really, more sleepy when you go to bed. You sleep better. But after a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you have like a setback. Things go back to the way they were, and that's where I really want to read this this passage from this book because I think it's really, really pertinent here. So this is Bedtime Stories, of course, by Sasha Stephens. This is page 89. A really bad patch of sleep is the very worst time to begin something different. All this does is draw attention to the problem, mark the night out as different, and puts you in an even more conscious and alert state when you're actually going to bed. The best thing you can do when in the middle of a really bad patch is nothing special. Do nothing different, nothing new. Just keep the sleep hygiene good. Keep your thoughts as positive as you can. Accept that things are going to be difficult for a bit, and then just sit tight and wait for the next little run of good sleep. The more you can take your focus away from what is wrong and towards a more accepting place, the better state you will be in for sleeping. So when I read this was after I got this email from Bobby. I immediately thought about Bobby. And I was actually very happy to read this because I've gotten very similar emails in the past. And in the email I sent to Bobby, I basically said the same thing. Like, don't do anything special. Like, don't change anything. Just continue what you have been doing. And now let's read the follow-up mail. So 9 days ago, Bobby emailed me, and here. I emailed him back also 9 days ago, so same day, and then 5 days ago, so 4 days after that, email to him where I basically said, don't do anything different. He says, thanks, Daniel. Things improved again over the weekend, and I got a good 5.5 hours last night until just before 6 a.m. Ready for Monday. Haha. That's great. I was so happy to see this. And now this really illustrates that, she's right. Sasha Stephens is right. Like, when you have been doing better, you get into this bad patch, don't change anything. And I kind of said the same thing, but her reply is so much more insightful. Like what I just read to you is so important. And just a quick clarification. When she says sleep hygiene, she basically talks about sleep restriction, things of that nature, rather than, because I always say sleep hygiene doesn't work. And there's a lot of confusion about, wording, but I just wanted to clarify that when I say sleep hygiene doesn't work, I mean like keeping your room cool or avoiding noise or like don't drink coffee, things like that. That doesn't really help. So I hope you found this helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, do email me, Daniel@insomniainsight.co, and hope to have you back here very soon. Bye-bye.